He hadn't meant for it to happen that way. Sam Carter, 45, road-worn, a man who spoke in half sentences and rode like he had nothing left to lose, never planned to break the Brotherhood code. But some knights don't ask for permission, they just take what they want. And on that cold stretch of highway outside Ridgewater, the moon hanging low like a dying lantern, Sam crossed a line no man was supposed to cross. It started with the sound of a single motorcycle behind him, an engine he knew better than his own heartbeat. Clay Maddox, his oldest friend, his brother, or at least he had been. They had buried members together, bled together, taken oaths they never fully understood until they were old enough to regret them. And yet, when it truly mattered, Sam had done the one thing the code never forgave. He walked away. Not from the club, from Clay's fight. For months he told himself it hadn't been his fault, that a man can only take so much, that Clay's war wasn't his to fight, but guilt rides better than any Harley. And it had followed Sam across every mile of open road since. Every sunset he chased felt like a debt collector closing in. Every quiet night reminded him of the silence that came after he turned his back. Then came the night he saw Clay again, leaning against that same black road king, arms crossed, face carved in stone by anger and disappointment. No words at first, just the desert wind burning between them, carrying the weight of everything they never said. Sam felt it in his bones. The road had finally cornered him. There was no outrunning this. And as Clay stepped forward, boots scraping the asphalt, Sam knew the truth. Some roads don't punish you with death. They punish you with the chance to face what you ran from. Some stories demand to be told slowly, like a long highway at dusk, stretching into a sky the color of old steel. What you're about to hear is one of those stories. A story about a rider who carried more weight in his chest than in his saddlebags. A story about a choice that shattered a bond older than most scars, and about the road that eventually asked him to face the truth he tried to outrun. If you've ever felt the pull of responsibility, guilt, or the thin line between loyalty and self-preservation, this one will hit close. Before we ride together, I want you to settle into this moment. Let the world outside quiet down. Picture the hum of an engine holding a steady rhythm beneath you. Feel the wind pressing against your jacket. Picture the night opening ahead like a judgment you can't delay. That's where this tale begins, and where the road stopped being just asphalt and became the only place left for him to confront himself. If you're new here, consider subscribing to Brotherhood Roads. This channel is built for people who understand silence better than noise, who feel more alive on an empty highway than in any crowded room. If you enjoy cinematic storytelling grounded in reality, brotherhood, loss, redemption, the hard choices riders make when no one is watching, then you're exactly where you need to be. Hit the like button too, not for the algorithm, though it helps, but because every tap is a way of saying, yeah, I've been there, I know what that road feels like. These stories grow stronger when people who understand them stick around. And before we throttle into Chapter 1, tell me in the comments, which city and country are you watching from? Not out of curiosity, though I love seeing how far the road reaches, but because every place has its own highways, and every highway has its riders. Maybe you've crossed one that reminded you of a debt left unpaid, just like Sam Carter. Sam Carter had always believed that distance solved things. Not by fixing them. Sam wasn't naive enough to believe in that, but by giving a man just enough space to pretend the past could no longer reach him. The problem was, the past rides a better bike than most men. And on that long stretch between Ridgewater and the state line, the evening air sharp as broken glass, Sam felt the unmistakable weight of something catching up. His engine hummed smoothly, but his chest tightened with every mile he put behind him. He wasn't running from the law. He wasn't running from debt. He was running from a promise he broke. and the man he broke it to. Clay Maddox had been more than a friend, more than a brother. He was the kind of man whose word held the same weight as a full tank and a reliable map. They had joined the Brotherhood young, reckless, certain that loyalty was the only thing in life that couldn't be taken from you. Sam had believed that until the night when Clay needed him the most, and Sam wasn't there. That failure carved something into him that no scar could match. As Sam cruised along the shoulder, the sun sinking like a dying coal behind the hills, memories rose whether he wanted them or not. Clay's voice steady even in anger, the argument they never resolved. The look Clay gave him the last time they stood face to face, like he was staring at a stranger wearing the skin of someone he used to trust. Sam didn't know which hurt more, Clay's disappointment or the fact that Clay had been right. He pulled into an abandoned turnout, killed the engine, and let the silence settle. The sky dimmed into a deep navy blue, the kind of color that swallowed up whatever a man tried to hide. Sam set both boots on the ground, resting his hands on the bars as if steadying himself. He hadn't returned to Ridgewater since that night, not even for the funerals, not even when the club fractured and half the brothers blamed him for it. Maybe they were right. Maybe he deserved every mile of exile. A long-haul truck roared past in the distance, its headlights sweeping the asphalt like a spotlight searching for fugitives. Sam watched it disappear, then exhaled slowly. He had spent months running from everyone, including himself, but the truth remained. Clay had been fighting a war that wasn't his fault. A war Sam walked away from because he was tired, or afraid. Sam never admitted which, not out loud. He leaned back, pulling a dented flask from his jacket. The whiskey burned down his throat, but it didn't bring clarity. It rarely did. The road behind him looked like a scar slicing through the desert. The road ahead looked like judgment waiting for daylight. Sam knew he should keep riding, cross the border before dawn, start over somewhere no one knew his name. Plenty of riders did exactly that, but every time he tried, something dragged him back toward Ridgewater like a chain he couldn't break. A gravel crunch pulled him from his thoughts. Not loud, just enough to shift the air. Sam's hand slid instinctively toward the knife tucked near the throttle. He wasn't the paranoid type, but men who carry guilt learn to listen to small sounds. The night breeze moved across the turnout, carrying dust and dry grass. Then another crunch, closer this time. Sam stood, scanning the dark. Out of the shadows stepped a figure, broad shoulders, steady stride, jacket worn from weather and years on the road, the kind of presence you felt before you fully saw. Sam's breath caught in his throat. That walk. He knew it. He'd ridden behind it, beside it, trusted it with his life. Clay Maddox emerged from the dark as if the road itself had delivered him. Clay stopped a few feet away, the desert wind cutting between them. His face wasn't angry. Sam almost wished it were. Anger would have been easier. Instead, Clay looked tired and hurt in a way no man could fully hide. Sam opened his mouth, but no words came. "What do you say to the brother you abandoned?" Clay's voice broke the silence first, low, controlled, heavy as gravel. "Didn't think I'd find you this far out." Sam swallowed. "I wasn't hiding." Clay tilted his head. "You sure about that?" The night pressed tighter. Sam felt the ground shift beneath him, not physically, but in meaning. Then Clay spoke again, and every word hit like a fist. "Marcus is dead." Sam's world stopped. The wind, the highway, everything. Clay stepped closer, eyes locked on him. And Sam! They knew he was coming. They were waiting for him. Sam's throat tightened. "What are you saying?" Clay's jaw flexed. "I'm saying someone told them." Clay didn't rush the moment. He let the words hang in the air like smoke from a dead fire. Sam felt the accusations settle into his bones, not directed at him, but heavy enough to crush anyway. Marcus Hayes. The brother who always rode tail, the one who patched Sam up after fights he shouldn't have survived, the one who believed Sam would eventually find his way back. Sam swallowed hard. but the taste of guilt rose thick anyway. "What happened?" Sam asked, voice raw. Clay's stare didn't soften. "You happened." Sam flinched, not physically, but somewhere deeper. Clay continued, voice steady, controlled, like a man forcing himself not to break. "After you walked away, the crew got sloppy. Everyone chose a side even when no sides were needed. Marcus tried to hold everything together, kept saying you'd come back, that we couldn't afford another fracture." Clay paused. "He went to settle a dispute you should have been there for. Alone, didn't walk away." Sam pressed his hands into the seat of his bike, grounding himself as the edges of the night blurred. Marcus dead. Because of a decision Sam made in a moment of exhaustion, a moment he'd replayed every night since. Clay watched him carefully. "I'm not here to punish you, Sam. The road already did that." He looked toward the distant hills. "I'm here because you're the only one who can stop what's coming next." His voice dropped. "The men who killed Marcus think the Brotherhood fell apart. They think no one's left to push back. They're wrong." Sam raised his head. "What do you want from me?" Clay didn't blink. "Ride with me one last time?" His voice went lower. "Not for the club, not for the code, for Marcus." Sam exhaled slowly, feeling the desert air sting his lungs. Ride with him. Two men who used to be brothers, now standing on the ruins of everything they once believed in. But there was something else in Clay's request. Something Sam couldn't ignore. A chance. Not at forgiveness. Some wounds run too deep for that word, but a chance to stand where he should have stood months ago. He looked back at Clay, studying the face he'd once trusted more than his own. Clay wasn't asking for loyalty. He wasn't demanding repayment. He was offering a road, a hard, dangerous road, where Sam could finally stop running. Sam closed his eyes for a moment, letting the night press in. Then he nodded once. "All right," he said quietly. "I'll ride." Clay didn't smile. He just inhaled sharply, as if preparing himself. "Good," he muttered, "because the men we're going after aren't waiting." He stepped back toward the shadows where his bike was parked. "And Sam, there's something else you need to know." Sam tensed. Clay's tone had shifted. Darker, heavier. Clay trusted three men with his life. Clay said slowly, "You, Marcus, and Reese." Sam knew Reese. Solid rider, quiet, loyal to the bone. Or so everyone thought. Clay continued, "Marcus started asking questions before he died. Questions about supply routes, about who knew our movements." He met Sam's eyes. Someone's been feeding information to the smugglers. Someone close. Sam's pulse quickened. "You think it's Reese?" Clay's jaw tightened. "I don't know, but Marcus suspected someone inside. He just didn't live long enough to prove it." The desert wind howled between them, colder now. Sam felt the weight of betrayal settling into the conversation, a betrayal deeper than his own. Someone had sold them out, someone wearing the patch. Clay pulled on his helmet, then stopped. His hand trembled against the visor. When he spoke, his voice was barely audible over the wind. "There's one more thing, Sam." He didn't finish. He just started his engine and rode into the dark. Sam followed, knowing that whatever Clay had left unsaid was the one thing that would cost them both. Sam followed Clay toward the shadowed edge of the turnout, where Clay's Black Road King waited like a silent witness. The bike looked different from the last time Sam had seen it. Dents were new, the chrome carried scratches that told stories of nights spent too close to danger. Clay mounted with controlled precision, but Sam noticed something in the way he moved, a stiffness, a hesitation, as if part of him was running on memory instead of strength. Sam started his engine, the familiar rumble settling into the empty desert like a heartbeat. Clay glanced back, signaling with two fingers before rolling onto the highway. Sam fell in behind him, matching speed. The night stretched wide and cold, the road splitting the dark like a blade. It felt strangely familiar. Two riders moving as one, a formation drilled into them over years. But something was missing. The trust, the ease, the unspoken rhythm that used to guide every turn. They rode for nearly an hour without speaking, the silence thick enough to feel through the helmets. Sam's mind spun with Marcus. His voice, his slow smile, the way he always managed to see the best in people even when they didn't deserve it. Sam wondered if Clay blamed himself too, but Clay's posture gave nothing away. He rode like a man with a mission etched into his bones. Eventually, Clay veered onto a narrow service road, the kind only locals remembered. The asphalt cracked as if the earth had tried to swallow it. They pulled into an abandoned rest stop, illuminated by a single flickering light. Clay killed the engine and removed his helmet, setting it carefully on the seat. Sam did the same, sensing that whatever came next wasn't something Clay wanted the highway to overhear. Clay leaned against his bike, arms crossed. The men responsible for Marcus weren't acting alone. He looked up at Sam, eyes sharp. They're part of something bigger, smugglers, outsiders, the kind who move through our territory because they think we've fallen apart. Sam frowned. And the leak. Clay's jaw tightened. Marcus confronted them after they crossed into the canyon route. He thought he could reason with them, thought the club was still strong enough to back him up. Clay paused. They proved him wrong, but here's the thing, and he stepped closer. They knew Marcus was coming. They knew his route, his timing. Sam felt pressure building behind his ribs. So it wasn't just bad luck. No, Clay said. It was information, clean, precise, the kind only someone inside would have. A heavy quiet fell between them. Sam looked toward the dark horizon, the wind stirring dust along the cracked pavement. For the first time since Clay had appeared, Sam realized something that unsettled him. Clay wasn't here to rebuild anything. He wasn't trying to repair the Brotherhood. He was looking for an edge, a weapon, a partner for something he didn't want the club involved in. "Tell me what you're not saying," Sam muttered. Clay hesitated, just long enough for Sam to catch it. Then he spoke. Marcus wasn't the only one they targeted. They've been watching the club. Watching me? He paused. And I think they're planning something bigger. Sam felt the shift like a change in temperature. How big? Clay met his eyes. Big enough that if we don't stop it now, there won't be a Brotherhood left to save. Sam tightened his grip on the handlebars. Clay wasn't just asking him to ride. He was asking him to fight a war neither of them understood yet. One Marcus had died trying to stop. Clay pulled a folded paper from his jacket, handing it to Sam. Marcus left this, a map he was building, places he checked, places he didn't make it to. Sam unfolded the paper under the rest stop's flickering light. Scratches of pen covered the page, coordinates, timestamps, notes written in Marcus's sharp block handwriting. Sam traced the last marked location, an unlisted fuel yard near the canyon's end. Clay watched him. He was heading there when they caught him. Sam nodded. Then we start where he stopped. Clay's expression hardened with agreement. He mounted his bike, but before starting the engine, he turned back. Sam, Clay said quietly, if we find out who the leak is... His voice trailed off. Sam met his eyes. We deal with it. Clay nodded once, then he kicked his engine to life. And as they rode toward the canyon, Sam felt something shift inside him. Not fear, not doubt, but clarity. This wasn't about redemption anymore, it was about survival. They rode toward the canyon route with cold determination. The night deepened, settling over the highway like a heavy cloak. Sam kept a steady pace behind Clay, watching the red glow of Clay's taillight pulse in the darkness. Each mile peeled back another layer of hesitation, leaving Sam with only resolve. He wasn't trying to fix the past anymore. He was trying to stop a future he could already smell burning on the horizon. The canyon road twisted like a serpent between steep rock walls. Sam remembered riding here with Clay and Marcus years earlier. Three brothers chasing thrill and freedom, convinced the world couldn't touch them. Now the canyon felt narrower, angrier. The shadows in the crevices seemed deeper, as if they held secrets Sam wasn't ready to hear. Clay slowed as they approached a fork in the road, flicking a hand signal for Sam to follow right. Sam nodded and adjusted his line. They pulled into a forgotten service yard, different from the one Marcus had marked. This one was half swallowed by sand, lit only by the moon and the dull glow of a failing street lamp. Clay parked near an old fuel pump and killed the engine. Sam followed, the sudden quiet pressing against his ears like pressure underwater. Clay removed his helmet, scanning the yard with the precision of someone expecting an ambush. "This is one of the places Marcus was tracking," Clay murmured. "Not his final stop, but close." He crouched near a set of tire ruts carved into the dusty gravel. "Fresh," he said. "Maybe a day old, maybe less." Sam knelt beside him. The tracks were heavy, deep, not from bikes. "Trucks," Sam said. "More than one." Clay nodded. "They move gear in caravans." Always at night, always silent. He stood and walked toward a rusted storage shed, its metal door half open. Sam followed, senses sharpened. Clay nudged the door wider with his boot and stepped inside. The interior smelled of oil, fumes, and burnt rubber. A row of abandoned shelves lined the walls, but there was no equipment, no crates, no tools, just dust, except... Sam spotted a torn fragment of fabric caught on a nail near the back wall. He pulled it free, running his thumb across the emblem stitched on the front. Clay froze when he saw it. His eyes darkened. "That's our patch," he whispered. A chill ran down Sam's spine. "So they've been here, close to home." Clay's jaw flexed. "Closer than we thought." Sam studied the shed again. The dust on the ground had been disturbed recently. Boot prints, several different sizes, moving in and out in quick patterns. But something else caught his attention. Faint marks on the concrete, the kind left by crates dragged rather than lifted. "They were storing something," Sam muttered, "and someone helped them get it out." Clay didn't respond. He walked back into the moonlight, as if the walls were closing in. Sam followed, stepping into the open yard. The canyon wind carried a metallic scent, sharp and unsettling. Then Clay spoke, low, strained, like words he'd been holding back too long. "I need to tell you something." Sam waited. Clay turned to face him. His eyes were different now, raw. The leak. Marcus wasn't the first to suspect it. His voice cracked slightly. "I was asking questions too, before Marcus, before any of this." Sam's pulse quickened. "What are you saying, Clay?" Clay's hands tightened at his sides. "I'm saying whoever sold us out knew I was looking, knew Marcus was following my lead." He exhaled harshly. "Whoever's feeding the smugglers isn't just close to the club." Sam stepped closer. "Say it." Clay's voice dropped to barely a whisper. "They're close to me." The words hit like a hard blow. Sam stepped back without meaning to, the weight of the revelation slicing through the night. There were only a handful of people Clay trusted, only a handful he let near his business, which meant the list of suspects wasn't long. It was devastatingly short. Clay slammed his fist against the shed wall, once, twice. The sound echoed through the empty yard. When he turned back, his eyes were wet. "You weren't there, Sam. You weren't there." His voice cracked. Then, just as fast, he wiped his face, straightened his jacket, and his mask returned. "Let's move," Clay said. But Sam had seen it. The break, the wound beneath the armor. And he knew now this wasn't just about stopping smugglers. It was about Clay discovering which brother he trusted had been destroying him all along. They mounted their bikes, engines roaring to life with a sound that echoed across the canyon walls like a challenge. Clay pulled ahead, leading them down the narrow service road until it merged again with the main highway. The night wind sliced across Sam's face, clearing the fog from his mind. He wasn't running anymore. He wasn't drifting. He was chasing something he should have faced long ago. The ride to the ridge crossing was long and desolate. The highway stretched upward, carved into the mountainside, with sharp drops on one side and jagged stone on the other. Clay rode with purpose, every movement precise. Sam matched him, their formation tight despite the rift of months between them. It felt almost like old times, except the silence between them carried too much truth now. As they neared the top of the ridge, Clay signaled for a slowdown. The road curved into a flat overlook with a single derelict fuel yard below, a squat concrete building half buried in shadow. A chain-link fence collapsed in places. A metal gate hung crooked. The place looked dead, abandoned, forgotten. Sam eyed the structure. This where Marcus was headed? Clay nodded. Last mark on his trail. They parked behind a jut of rock, out of direct sight. Sam removed his helmet and crouched beside his bike, studying the building. "You think anyone's inside?" Clay knelt next to him. "If the smugglers are moving through here, they'll have lookouts, maybe cameras, maybe muscle." Sam took a slow breath. "Then we move quiet." They approached the fuel yard on foot, moving through the shadows with calculated steps. Clay scanned the perimeter. Sam checked the corners. As they neared the entrance, Sam saw fresh tire treads again, multiple sets, heavy, overlapping. More activity than a deserted fuel yard should ever see. Clay stopped at the back door, its hinges rusted but recently forced open. He glanced at Sam. "Ready?" Sam nodded. Clay pushed the door gently, letting it creak open in slow inches. Inside, the darkness swallowed everything except a faint glow from a single hanging work light deeper within. They slipped inside, boots silent on the concrete floor. What they found made both men freeze. Against the far wall, where crates used to be stored, stood a table covered in documents, radios, and equipment, maps, schedules, photos. Clay stepped closer, his breath stalling when he saw the one on top. A grainy surveillance shot of him parking his bike outside the Brotherhood's old clubhouse. Sam looked at Clay, then at the table again. "They've been tracking you." Clay didn't answer. His eyes had fixed on another photo, one that made his skin drain of color. Sam stepped beside him, and the sight punched through his chest. It was a photo of Sam, taken recently, taken tonight. A fresh timestamp glowed at the bottom. 2347 Canyon Service Road. Sam's stomach dropped. That's from an hour ago." Clay's jaw locked. He reached for another photo beneath it. This one showed both of them, standing in the shed where they'd found the patch. The angle was perfect, professional. Someone had been watching them the entire time. "They knew we'd come here," Sam whispered. Clay's hands trembled as he shuffled through more documents. Then he stopped. His face went pale. Sam moved closer. "What is it?" Clay held up a handwritten note. The ink was fresh, the handwriting familiar. It read, "Clay, you were always too loyal for your own good. Marcus figured it out. That's why he had to go. Don't make his mistake. Walk away now, or you'll end up the same way. R." Sam's blood ran cold. "R. Reese." Clay's fist clenched around the note, crumpling it. His breathing was shallow, ragged. "He was my best rider," Clay whispered. "I trusted him with everything." Sam scanned the room, instinct screaming. "And Clay, if Reese wrote that note, then he knows we're here," Clay finished. The realization hit them both at once. Sam spun toward the door they'd entered through, but it was too late. The sound came first. Not loud, just deliberate. Footsteps, many, closing in fast. Clay met Sam's eyes, and in that split second, Every unfinished conversation between them dissolved into something simpler, sharper, more primal. Not brotherhood, not forgiveness. Survival. Sam stepped forward first, shoulders squared, jaw set, as if the weight of everything he'd run from had finally crystallized into purpose. Clay moved beside him, adjusting the knife at his side, his breath steady despite the tremor hidden beneath it. The smugglers thought they had cornered two fractured men. They had no idea what kind of fire, guilt, and betrayal could ignite. The first shadow appeared in the doorway, then another, then three more behind them. Armed, organized, expecting fear, but Sam felt none, not anymore. He'd spent too long letting the road outrun him. Tonight, he was ready to claim it back. Clay's voice cut through the tension, low and almost calm. "They want the truth, Sam. Let's give it to them." It wasn't a threat, it wasn't bravado, it was a decision. The lead figure stepped fully into the dim light. Sam's breath stopped. It wasn't a stranger. It was Reese, broad shoulders, cold eyes, the patch still stitched on his jacket like a mockery. The man who'd sworn to protect them all, the man Clay had trusted more than anyone except Sam and Marcus. Clay didn't flinch, he just nodded once, as if confirming what he'd feared all along. "So it was you." Reese smiled, thin, empty, already detached. "It was always me, Clay." His voice was calm, almost apologetic. "You think loyalty pays the bills? You think the Brotherhood gives a damn about us when the road runs dry?" Clay's fists clenched. "Marcus died because of you." Reese shrugged. "Marcus died because he couldn't let go, just like you." He gestured to the men behind him. "These people, they offered something real, something that doesn't disappear when your brothers get tired and walk away." His eyes shifted to Sam. Isn't that right, Sam?" Sam felt the accusation land, but it didn't cut the way it would have months ago. He stepped forward, voice steady. "You're right. I walked away. I failed Clay. I failed Marcus." He paused. "But I'm here now. And you sold out the only family you ever had?" Reese's smile faded. "Family's just a word men use when they're afraid to be alone." Clay moved, fast, silent, dangerous. His knife was out before anyone saw it coming. He closed the distance between him and Reese in 2 strides, blade pressed against Reese's throat before the smugglers could react. "Call them off," Clay growled, "or you die first." Reese didn't flinch. He just stared into Clay's eyes with something like pity. "You won't do it, Clay. You're too good. That's always been your problem." For a moment, the room held its breath. Then Clay spoke, voice low, broken, final. "You're right. I'm too good." He lowered the knife, and Sam moved. He grabbed the nearest tool from the table, a heavy wrench, and swung it hard into the closest smuggler's knee. The man dropped with a scream. Clay spun, using the moment of chaos to slam his elbow into another man's jaw. Sam didn't stop. He fought like a man who had nothing left to lose and everything to prove. The room erupted. Fists, steel, grunts, the sound of bodies hitting concrete. Reese tried to run, but Clay caught him by the collar, slamming him against the wall. "You killed Marcus," Clay said, voice shaking. "You killed my brother." Reese laughed, bitter, hollow. "Marcus killed himself. He chose loyalty over survival, just like you're doing now." Clay's fist connected with Reese's jaw. Once, twice. Then he stopped, breathing hard, tears mixing with sweat on his face. Sam stood beside him, bloodied but standing. The smugglers were down, groaning, scattered, broken. Clay looked at Reese one last time, then he let him drop to the floor. "We're done here," Clay said quietly. They walked out together, side by side, into the cold night air. The canyon stretched wide before them, silent and waiting. Clay stopped at his bike, hands shaking as he gripped the handlebars. Sam stood beside him, saying nothing. Finally, Clay spoke, You came back. Sam nodded. I did. Clay looked at him, really looked at him, and for the first time in months, something softened in his eyes. Thank you, Clay whispered. Sam didn't answer. He just started his engine. And together, they rode into the night, not as the brothers they used to be, but as the men they'd fought to become. The highway stretched ahead, painted in shades of silver and shadow under the rising moon. Sam and Clay rode side by side now, not behind, not ahead, but equal. The distance between them had closed, not through words or apologies, but through action, through blood, through the choice to stand together when everything said to run. Sam didn't know if this fixed what he'd broken. He didn't know if Clay would ever fully forgive him, but as the wind cut across his face and the engine hummed steady beneath him, he realized something. Forgiveness wasn't the road. The road was showing up, fighting when it mattered, being there when the night closed in and a brother needed someone beside him. They didn't speak as the canyon faded behind them. They didn't need to. The silence between them was different now, not empty, not heavy with guilt, just present, real. The kind of silence that exists between men who've stared into the fire together and walked out alive. And as the highway opened wide before them, Sam understood the truth the road had been teaching him all along. Some bonds can't be rebuilt, but they can be reforged, 1 mile at a time.